Well, it's just an honor to have some special guests here from, we beloved folks here. You look at our sign on here, Brady Bunch and Happy Days. And we're first going to say hello, welcome to Springfield, the Abe Lincoln Car Show for the Brady Bunch's Michael Lookinland. There he is. There he is in the house. And ready for our next special guest from Happy Days. It is Donnie Most. Give it up for him. There it is. What's going to be a cool, fun format tonight? So I'm the Mike Romer, so if you have some questions as we get going, just kind of let me know. I got to tell some quick stories. Poor Michael Lookinland, to get here, his plane had a mechanical problem yesterday. He had to fly from Salt Lake City to Atlanta to St. Louis to get here today. Give him a hand at least on that one. And a little surprise here because, let's see, in a few days, this young lad here is going to have a birthday August 8th. Let's say happy birthday real quick for Mr. Donnie. Happy birthday. Everybody sing real quick. Happy birthday. There it is. He's 37. All right, so let's begin the fun here. I remember growing up, Brady Bunch, I wanted to smash the kitty carry-all doll. I hated that whole situation there. A lot of fun with the whole entire family. Any of you guys watch HGTV and things like that? The Property Brothers? You guys know they've redone the house and everything, and it's going to air, 3 weeks on repair?
September 9th.
September 9th.
Premiere, it'll be 5 episodes. The premiere is September 9th, which is a Monday night.
Okay, I want to ask you real quick. When they asked you, we're going to rebuild the Brady house, which was never in the show except an exterior shot, do you think they were crazy, or what do you think?
Oh, I've said that many times, like to the head guys at the network. I said, you guys are crazy, and this is the best idea I've ever heard. And it turned out great. They've really accomplished something pretty amazing.
After it's all said and done.
And you'll be able to watch it on HGTV.
Fantastic. And another kudos, because we had, we're going to have Cindy Brady here, of course, and Susan couldn't make it because of a situation that came up. We spent Monday or Tuesday hours working on finding someone to get here. This young lad who's having a birthday coming up was filming a movie in Michigan, and he decided to come down there and help us for this. So give him a nice hand for short notice. It's days away. Donnie, tell about the movie real quick, what it's all about and what we might see.
Oh, okay. It's a really beautiful script that I just got finished shooting up in Michigan, in northwestern Michigan, near Whitehall, if you know that area. It's really beautiful. And I worked with this company before, a year ago, on a movie called MBF, like Man's Best Friend. That's going to be coming out in theaters in November. The one I just did is called Lost Heart, and it won't be out probably at least for 9 months to a year. But it's a really beautiful story, and I played a local pastor who's trying to help somebody who used to be from there and is kind of lost. So there's the Lost Heart.
So we go back to Michael here. Of course, everybody has lives after the TV show. You still together with all the family? Get together for lunch whenever your past cast members and everything?
3 of my Brady siblings, of course, all the grown-ups are gone. We lost all of them.
Yeah.
But all 6 kids are still friends, and 3 of them still live in Los Angeles, and 3 of them don't. I'm one of the ones that doesn't. Eve, who played Jan, she lives in New York City, and Barry lives in Branson, Missouri.
I know that.
He's a Branson boy at heart. Yeah, so anyway, the other 3 still live in LA, and a lot of them are into acting, and a couple of us aren't. But we've always seen each other off and on, like in pairs or 3s or 4s, or we get together for this or that. Or if I'm in New York, I'll go have lunch with Eve. But this most recent show is the first time they've gotten us all 6 together for over 15 years. And
Wow.
it's a big deal. It sort of had to be that way, or it wouldn't have, it wouldn't have quite the same feel to it. But yeah, that's like been the number one question we've been asked. You get asked that a lot. Like, do you still see your fellow castmates? And the answer is yes. We're friends.
Well, fantastic. We're letting you guys do some too. Anybody got a quick question right off the bat? Want to right here?
How did your life change whenever you started acting?
Which one, for both of them? Or?
Yeah, but
How did my life change? Well, at the beginning it didn't change that much because I started when I was about 13, 14. I started going to school for it. And so I was still going to high school, but I was taking lessons outside of high school for acting and singing and dancing. And then I started working when I was about 16. I grew up in New York, and I was doing a lot of commercials and a little bit of TV here and there. So it didn't really change that much, but it changed drastically when I landed the role on Happy Days, because it became, a big hit. And then it's hard for your life not to change because everybody kind of knows you at that point. So that takes some getting used to, adjusting to, because it's like you're in the twilight zone all of a sudden. Your life has changed dramatically. I'm sure you went through a very similar process.
My story is sort of one where we sort of got discovered. Someone saw the family photo on my dad's desk at work, and the Brady Bunch was they had trouble finding a Bobby. Bobby was the last character out of the nine main roles that was cast, and it was the third job that I ever had in the business. The first two being a Band-Aid commercial where I was just some kid getting injured in the playground, right? And a paper towel commercial where you only saw my hands. You never saw my face. And the Brady Bunch was the third job I ever had in the business, and believe me, it changed my life dramatically, just, based on the fact that it's quite literally 50 years later, and I'm sitting here today in Springfield talking to you about it.
Well, it's kind of cool you guys at our Abe Lincoln Car Show, and tomorrow, now, I heard that you like classic cars, is that true?
Well, I appreciate the classic cars. I was never like a real buff,
Right.
but I just love, I don't know, I'm not a connoisseur and I don't know the details, but I just appreciate when I see a beautiful classic
You're going to
car.
see about 400 of them tomorrow.
Yeah.
Both of you have to pick something for the pick. So.
If anybody has a 68 Camaro Rally Sport, they want to give me a ride in, I'll volunteer.
There you go, guys. Okay, let's throw some more questions here. Let's go back here.
Is the HGTV special, are they going to have a bathroom in it?
Oh, good one. Yeah, that's funny. You probably are all aware that you never saw, even though you saw the bathrooms in the Brady Bunch, there were no toilets. You couldn't show a toilet in 1969, before 10 p.m. on television. It was like literally against the law. And so the boys and the girls shared, the six of us shared one bathroom with no toilet in it. And they have to. The new renovation of this house is a house, and so you kind of have, in order to get your CO, you have to have a toilet. So yes, there's toilets. I'm sorry. So it's not an exact match, but it's pretty darn close.
All right, I'm gonna put you guys up against it here. Of all, let's go with Donnie first. Now, it looks like on Happy Days there's no sadness. Everybody's happy. Everything's fun. But is there anybody that in the cast that you wanted to punch in the face because you didn't get along with it? Did you get together okay in the Happy Days? It's not always happy.
No, we were pretty happy. There's nobody I wanted to punch. at least not in the cast. Maybe somebody in the crew. No, we got along great. It was there's few shows where that happens, and sounds like Mike, you had that as well. But we got along great as we respected each other in the work that we were doing. We took it very seriously, but we also had a good time because the personalities were such you could not avoid that. But we always were like a family. It really was like that.
All right, Michael, putting it to you on this one.
There were no rivalries like that or any animosity. I mean, we became a family, and it's almost like more of a family than we each had our own real families, of course. And we're pretty young. We were younger than these guys were when their show started. And their parents were parent figures, and the siblings we were really like siblings, and we're still like that today when we get together. We kind of fall back into our old roles, but we were friends, and Florence Henderson's children are the same ages as me and my brothers and sisters, and the other cast members had their own siblings, and it was like one big giant extended family. And so sorry, no like reality TV stuff at all.
Like that.
Yeah, it was just, and you know what? What comes through on the screen on both of our shows, you can see
Feel it,
that,
yes.
and that's why they have the heart and the staying power that they still have. Is because they have that, you can tell watching the show that we're not just playing out, we're not just acting out a script. We're actually colleagues and friends.
Questions out here for anyone? Let's go back here. Go right ahead.
Yeah, this is for Donnie. Have you worked with Ron Howard or Henry Winkler in other projects since the end of the show?
I worked with Ron some years ago on a project when he was first, two actually. When he was first trying to prove himself as a director, we created a script based on improvisations that we did. It was like an experimental film, and we would shoot it on the weekends while we were doing Happy Days during the week. And from that, he was able to get his first first directing assignment. And then later on, he cast me in the movie Ed TV. I had a nice role in that. But I'm hoping he'll call me again soon, because, that's been a while. Maybe he'll have another part for me. Henry, I haven't worked with Henry in anything since Happy Days. So, we just spoke about a week ago, and we're going to get together. So we'll see. Maybe there's something down the road in regard to that. I hope so. It'd be great to do something again.
Hey guys, you probably know you're in the Midwest. You're in the heart of Cub Cardinal country. Do you like sports, Cubs, Cardinals, anything at all? Well, there's going to be something coming up here. I see it.
I was just telling a story on the way over here in the car. Speaking of Cardinals, I'm some kid from Utah, right? And I was here after the Brady Bunch and high school and then college. I started working as a cameraman, and I became a camera technician, a camera assistant. And I never did any digital. I always worked film, right? That was before digital. But anyway, I was in Missouri doing John Ashcroft's campaign commercials, okay? And I said, oh my gosh, you guys, look at that bird. And there was this bird, like, jumping, between the bushes and the lawn, and they looked at the bird, and they looked at me, and they said, this is the other people on the crew. They said, Mike, that's a cardinal. And I was like, well, I've never seen one. That's a cool looking bird. Apparently they're like sparrows out here. I don't know. Right? We have lots of sparrows, but no cardinals. Anyway, So to answer your question, I'm not too big on sports. I'm an old Raiders fan, so you can feel sorry for me.
Raiders fans.
Yeah, you can feel sorry for me for that. But yeah, I went to Super Bowl 16 with my dad, and the Raiders beat the Vikings.
Wow.
And yeah, so ever since then I've been a Raiders fan, but that's pretty much it.
What's you, Donnie? Sports, no go, yes go.
Well, I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, and it was in the era. I was a Mickey Mantle, Roger Maris, so I was a big, huge Yankee fan, and the Mick. And then,
Not everybody's perfect back there. Just calm down.
so yeah, that was my baseball was my main sport. And then when I moved out to LA, I was still a Yankee fan for many years because I couldn't lose that. And then I finally kind of switched over to the Dodgers. I think it was when Joe Torre became the manager of the Dodgers, and he was a Yankee manager, so that helped me in the transition, you know. So, but in my heart, I'm still, I guess, a Yankee fan.
Gotcha. Question from the crowd anywhere? Got any? They're coming up right here.
Could you tell us about your thoughts on the change in the entertainment business, and particularly about television?
What are your thoughts?
Well, I think that the TV show Survivor ruined America. Yeah, because the people that made Survivor, it was actually during an actors' strike, where the Screen Actors Guild was striking for pay for new media, either digital or you know, VA cable TV, VHS, or whatever. So a group of producers hit on this idea of the reality TV show, and as much as I now love my Discovery Channel and my HGTV people, I am not a fan of the evolution of television into what it's become, which is how in a lot of ways how rotten we can be to each other to get ratings. I'm not a fan of that, and that's understandable just based on my history and my past and my experience with television. But yeah, so the actors went on strike. Survivor became a gigantic hit and made millions of dollars, and then every Joe Blow wannabe producer in television said, well, let's make a reality show about this, and it's just gotten worse and worse.
All right, I'm going to pay you guys to all here. Michael, the most unusual thing about you, which is really, really cool that people don't know that you do or like or something like that. Anything stand out?
I have a brief follow-up on my last answer, which is television. Even while I was a camera assistant, was evolving into the drama narrative was evolving into, like, we need to make a feature film every week to show these people. So it sort of took two paths, you know. It took a really good one, which is now, you know, television is like high art in a lot of cases, and a really terrible one, which you know, is lowbrow reality shows, right? So anyway, what was the question? Oh,
the most unique thing about you that people don't know of, but think like, wow, that's really cool.
I was working on a WB series called Everwood. If you had a teenage daughter at the time, you would know about Everwood. It was a drama, you know, on the WB, and I decided during the filming of that show that I sort of wanted to try something else. And one day my wife brought home a library book, and the name of the book was How to Make Concrete Countertops. You've heard of concrete as a countertop medium, right? People use it to make fireplaces. Wendy has one in her bathroom, by the way. It's a really nice one. I shipped it to Wisconsin. Apparently Wendy drove down here from Wisconsin to be here tonight. Right, Wendy? Anyway, so I read this book, how to make concrete countertops, and I said to my wife, honey, I'm quitting my job. And for the last 15 years, I've been running a small company, and we make what's called architectural or decorative concrete. We don't do any flat work. We don't do any of this stuff. Like
I asked you about making a cub one for me, but you do different stuff. So.
Yeah, well, it's kind of artistic. If I make you something, you have the only one. It's all custom. We don't keep any inventory or anything. But I run a small company. I have a couple employees, and we custom make stuff out of concrete. That's the weirdest thing I can think of.
Donnie, how about you? Anything unique that we don't know about you that's like really cool if we knew?
Most likely, what I've been doing, besides acting, in the last 5 years, I went back to doing what I call my first love, which was singing. And before I was acting, when I was 14, 15 years old, I was singing in a nightclub act in the Catskill Mountains, which was a resort area upstate New York. And they had all these hotels that had nightclubs, and I was part of this act. I was singing the summer, the entire summer, all over the Catskill Mountains. Then I shifted my focus to acting, and I put the music aside. I used it in some musical theater, but I put my love of all the great standards and jazz and big band and swing and all that. So 5 years ago, I decided to do it. So I put an act together, and I've been doing it all over the country and in clubs and theaters. And I had a CD.
And you have a band now, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, on the East Coast, I've one, and on the West Coast, and then when I do it in other parts of the country, we hire local musicians, and I bring my music director in, because all my music's charted. And I have a CD out called Mostly Swinging. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Good question. I don't want to miss anybody's questions back here. If you got one, Andrew, got one for you? I'll come your way. Oh, sorry. We're coming.
I was just wondering, if you have children, grandchildren?
Children, grandchildren.
That's a nice question. I always like it when somebody asks a different question. Because, we've heard the same group of 70 or 80 questions thousands of times over the decades. And that's a very nice question. I have two sons. They're in their late 20s, and they're both good people, and they're going about their business, just like kids will do.
Yeah, I have two daughters, 30 and 32. No grandkids yet, but they're great kids and doing their thing. One's in the Reno, Tahoe area, and the other's in Austin, Texas, but about to move to Boulder, Colorado. So we're hoping they'd get closer together so we could move close to them, but they're very far apart. So that's our conundrum right now, how to get to see them more often.
I think I had another one back here too. I didn't miss anybody.
Speaking of far apart, one of my sons lives in Latvia. Google it. Latvia is very far away. We went to visit him this June. He lives with his girlfriend in a cabin in the woods. His girlfriend's grandmother's cabin in the woods. I was worried about his living arrangements, but my wife and I went to visit him this summer, and it's all good. He's okay.
One more from this young lady here.
Do you guys have any problems getting the benefit from being on Brady Bunch and Happy Days like the other child actors from the 50s? The replays of the shows, and you get dollars, pennies.
Yeah, the residuals.
Yes.
Well, yeah, I think from some of the older shows, the contracts back then that would run out after a certain amount of plays, they wouldn't get any more residuals. But then they changed it. So I don't know what year, because Happy Days didn't go on the air until '74, and they changed the contract a little earlier than that. And then
I know what year.
So he'll have the other side of the story, but we still get. But what happens is it's gotten down to such a low amount. At least it's something. We still get something, but it's it's gotten down to almost a minuscule amount, but it's better than not getting anything.
My experience is that our contract was a 10-run buyout, and this is just specific to the Brady Bunch. Our contract was a 10-run buyout, so I got paid for the first 10 reruns of each episode, which lasted into the early 1980s. And after that, it became zero, and I get zero from the Brady Bunch. I've actually gotten paid more. You'd be shocked and appalled at how little we got paid as children on our show. You wouldn't believe it. Anyway, it's okay though. You know, I've made it this far. I haven't gotten hungry, but I've actually made more money from a movie called Adventures in Babysitting because they used a clip of me on the Brady Bunch in the movie, and that was at 21st century rates, right, instead of 1969 rates, and the renegotiation of residual payments that Donnie's talking about was retroactive back to 1970. Our contract was 1969, and I think one of the main reasons that one of the handful of reasons that after 5 years we didn't get picked up and we were canceled after our 5th season was that our contracts were for 5 years, and it was time to renegotiate. And they said, we'll just cancel it. So that, the end of the Brady Bunch. Sorry, folks. Actually, it's never ended.
Hey, we are kind of almost winding down on tonight's feature. We're going to take a couple more questions. And I want to remind everybody, if your friends weren't aware of this tonight, they're going to be on the field tomorrow, roughly 10 to 4, and things like that, with a lot of fun. We'll try to get you up in the boom truck tomorrow. We got a boom thing, that 50-foot boom out there, so if you're going to do that. Still working on a helicopter ride for some of you guys, too, but a couple more questions. I'm jumping. I'll be right to you.
That was a matter of being, just being in the moment, right? Sometimes I thought my character of Bobby was kind of goofy and silly, which he was, but it was a fun thing to do, and it was a fun part to play.
I saw that part. I loved your mom on TV too.
Florence was lovely. She was wonderful. Very much.
When Fonz jumped the shark, well, there was no real shark in there, so none of us were too worried. Maybe more worried that Henry would be okay on the skis, but Henry was actually a really good water skier. So he did his own. He actually did that jump, that you saw. So that was cool.
Is Pinky still alive?
Is who?
Pinky.
Pinky. I don't know. I think so. Yeah, I think she's still alive. Yeah.
Got one here. If either one of you are channel surfing and come across your own shows, do you watch it?
Good question.
I would definitely, if I was to, did you guys hear the question?
If they were channel surfing and they came upon their shows, would they watch them and like them?
I would definitely stop and watch the Brady Bunch. And the reason for that is because I'm a fan of certain old TV shows, but I'm not really a Brady fan. I'm a Star Trek fan, right? Thank you. And I would stop and watch just to see the show and say, oh yeah, I remember that day, because people know our shows by the content of the show, the finished product, what you see, and that's how I know, like Gilligan's Island, right, or Star Trek. But the people on Gilligan's Island, they remember the show as being their experience as employees and actors and colleagues, and you never see the 150 other people that are there doing the show, but they're just as much a part of it as we were. You know what I mean? So I would watch the show just to like reminisce about stuff like that.
And Donnie.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I would watch it. I haven't seen an episode in many years. So at this point, I would just be curious to see if I remembered the episode and remembered those kind of behind the scene things that Mike's referring to, what was going on when we shot it and the conversations that were going on and where we were in the evolution of the show. Because if I was going to start watching the show again or recommend somebody, I'd say watch it from episode 1 in sequence all the way through, because it's fun for me to see how it evolved and changed, and so I would be curious to watch it in that respect.
That's an interesting concept, you know, because we were actually young children. At least I was a very young child, and by the time we were done, I was almost 14. So that, you know, there's an evolution there as well, big time.
Hey, it kind of amazed me. I saw where people are traveling. Who thinks they traveled the farthest to see either the Brady or the Happy Days thing? Raise your hand if you came from a long way. Anybody come from a long way? Because I've heard like a Pennsylvania and things like that. But anybody? Right there. Yeah, you do. You get that award. You don't get one of these nice trophies like this, but we got something for you. We're going to work on that. But give it up for the great guys here. I just had almost all day tomorrow, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. We're going to have him out on the field for the big car show. And we've got a lot going on. So we're trying to get him in a helicopter, try to maybe get him in the boom truck. Maybe we introduce him. You guys ever heard of horseshoes?
I learned about a horseshoe today, yeah.
That is a Central Illinois tradition. So.
Yeah.
We have an ambulance on standby.
Heart health was mentioned in that conversation.
Okay, what we're going to do, like I said, tomorrow you can go on the field and get autographs and pictures and things like that too. And we got that table set up. We're going to move the guys over there. I believe that's how they're going to do it here. But again, it's $20 a picture, 20 for a signature, signature, 30 for both. And love for you to do. You just go up and say hi to them if you want to do that. So again, give them a nice hand, Michael Lookinland and Donnie.
Thanks, you guys. We love you. We really do.